Hey guys, Kev here, and I have a full review to do for you. So, I didn't think I was going to do a full review on this because I covered a lot in the unboxing, but I do feel like it's necessary to give my thoughts on it. I've now had it for like, I don't know, 4 days or so. I thought I would move it on pretty quick because I was thinking I got all my thoughts out, and it's probably best if we keep the prototype moving. And, you know, it was pretty simple. I really like it. I want one. I did end up getting in on the pre-order. And, you know, that kind of tells the whole story right there that I liked it enough to spend my money. So, yeah, but I do think it's worth kind of doing a overview / review on the prototype. And that way, when I get the production version, we can kind of or you or whoever can go back and see that and then compare. So this is the Golden Designs Standard. And I like the name, obviously, Golden Standard, Golden Design Standard makes sense. Really, I think it's a unique design, which is nice. You know, it's hard to do that this day and age. I love certain elements of this that really are up my alley. There's certain things on the knife I don't particularly love, but, you know, all in all, it's fantastic. And obviously, I wanted it enough to pick one up. The first thing you might notice right here is it says MAG for Magna Cut. The prototype is in Magna Cut, but the production run is in M390 because this is being OEM by Bestech out of China, and CPM does not ship overseas anymore, as far as I understand, with Magna Cut. I don't know if that's something Laren Thomas wanted to make a thing so that only U.S. makers could use it, which I think is pretty cool. So, and I'm fine with M390. I really like M390. So, yeah. So let's talk about the pre-order's over, so I do apologize. You can't get in on this anymore, but you can always hit up the maker or the designer over at Golden Designs. I'll link that down below. You can always hit them up and ask them if they'll have more available when they come in, etc., etc. They started, I believe, at $269, and this type of configuration, you could get this gray or a blue. So this was smoke, and then blue was sky, and then you have this ripple pattern, which I think is really nice, and then you have a dimple pattern. And he posted some stats after the pre-order, and it looked like most people went for the dimple, which is interesting. I think I would have went for the ripple had I pre-ordered one of these. I ended up getting the dark matter gold version with M390. Which doesn't have any milling, unfortunately, but it has dark matter gold, which is really nice. So I thought that was the one to go for. But yeah, so $269, and then that version in the dark matter was $330, I think. And then there was a Damasteel one with dark matter that was, I don't even know how much, probably $450 or something like that. So very reasonable. $269 is very reasonable on a knife made by Bestech. I know what they cost to make knives with them, so he's not running to the bank with this one. And I'm sure it'll have nice packaging of some sort and etc. So it'll be well worth your $269. So that's cool. So let's talk about the aesthetics. It's fucking gorgeous. I love this aesthetic. It gives me vibes of the Roosevelt closed, which is like one of the best looking knives closed. And what I mean by that, basically, is just the way the handle, I don't know what it is, but it just gives me that vibe. But it also has its own thing going on. I'm not saying, and I've made this clear in many videos, but I'm just saying it gives me those, like, vibes in a way, like a detail, right? I'm not saying this is a copy of that, because people do that all the time. I recently had a little battle in the comments with people on a video about the RR Standard where there were some people who were like, that's a Vero. And I'm like, this is not even close to a Vero. Like, what? I mean, maybe if you took one glance at it walking by and you saw the handle and you're like, oh, that kind of looks like a Vero because you've seen a million Veros. You know, maybe. But, like, this is not a Vero look-alike at all. So that kind of shit bugs me. And I get the same kind of comments about my knives with Divo, and that's one of the reasons I think it's just a hot topic for me, or sore subject or whatever. So maybe I'm, I'm obviously projecting a bit, but that's what you do. So anyway, when I say it gives me vibes, I don't mean it that way. I just mean like something about it reminds me of X knife, So yeah. So yeah, it gives me a little bit of rosy vibes, and then it gives me a little bit of nimble vibes. The way the handle is, if you look at the handle right here, you just remove that flipper tab, and it kind of has a similar shape to it, right? Stuff like that. It doesn't look anything like a nimble, but it has that vibe. Get it? All right, cool. Moving on. So I really like it closed. The jimping's done very well. One of the changes in production is that this right here is extending. So this swedge is going to start down here instead of up here, and you're going to have a thicker area to grab right here to flick it. And I really like it as is. So hopefully it just feels better. Like I'm hoping it doesn't get worse by having that, because I really like the way it is. But yeah, I love the milling pattern. By the way, it's titanium. I know it might look like G10 sometimes in video or whatever, but trust me, you feel the quality of the titanium, and you could see it once you have the knife. But I wanted to point that out. I love the pivot. You got that kind of dish concave in on the pivot. Really cool. Nice stonewash down here. Horizontal satin up here. Yeah, I'd love a belt satin or hand satin versus stonewash, but it looks really nice. They did a good job with that. I love the way the hole goes with this cutout right here in the handle. So you can see as it comes out, and then right here it'll zzz, and it kind of just matches up perfectly with that. I really like that look. The clip is phenomenal, works fantastic, looks fantastic. I've said this before. It reminds me of a stretched out f5.5 clip, which is a great clip in my opinion. So yeah, aesthetics are really good. I love the blade shape, drop point type blade. And then ergonomics are very comfortable. I mean, this is really good in this grip. Choke up, very good in this grip. Right-handed, no problem. Don't feel that clip. Maybe a little bit in the choke up grip. I feel it a little bit. Let's squeeze. Don't really feel it. So yeah, ergos are really good in my opinion. You can Friday night gas station it all you want. You get a nice flat spot back here. If you want to go reverse gas station, you're good to go. A little bit awkward there, but you could do it. You could probably, get into this choil grip if you want to go crazy gas station, whatever you want to do, but it works. So ergos are good. Cutting, I didn't do much cutting with this, not going to lie. So I don't have a lot to say about it. It's going to be M390, not Magna Cut, so that'll be a difference, obviously. But it's Bestech, and they do a good job with their grinds, with their sharpening. They do a good job in general, right? Relatively thin behind the edge on a flat grind. It's going to be a good EDC. I can tell you that. I just can't tell you my experience with it because I didn't really do much other than open a couple packages and cut some paper. So there's that. Carry, like I said, the clip is phenomenal. It carries really well. Retention is amazing. In and out of pocket very well. It is not reversible, unfortunately, but, I'm used to that. Carried it in my back left pocket. Had no problem. It basically disappears back there. Wonderful to carry. Sounds. See if I can do it. All right, sounds are good. They're 6 out of 10. Nothing to write home about, but nothing bad either. It's just a knife that opens and closes, right? You can hear the detent. Doesn't have a really cool click, but it's phenomenal. Like, so what I say about the click is like, I just got this. By the way, I actually got to buy it, which is awesome. But when you listen to this close, that is an epic click on the close. Right? This just closes. It's fine. You know what I mean? But that's why it's a 6 out of 10 on sounds. All right. So action / fidget factor. This is where I really like the knife in a lot of ways. There's some little things that I think I'll get used to when I own one. But first up, you have the centering, which is relying on this notch, which is a ballsy move, and it's pretty much dead on. Slightly over to this side, and that's the problem with this. If this did not have the notch, I'd probably be like, it's centered, you know? If it was my knife, I might fiddle with it anyway, just because this is how I am. I go crazy about stuff like that. But that accentuates it, so you need to nail it, and that's, you know, that's crazy, but he's taking a risk there, but, you know, it is what it is. So, the detent. I think the detent is good. I think it makes sense because you have a front flipper that you want that detent to be not too strong to where you can't front flip it, right? And that's the tricky thing with a multi-deployment knife. Now, the way I look at it with these multi-deployment knives is we should be dialing them for the hole, because most people are going to want to flick this bad boy, and you want that flick to be crisp, right? Whereas on the front flipper, it might be my secondary deployment. So I want to be able to make sure this is the best, you know? And they got the flick down really well. I mean, it fires reliably, right? No problems on the flick. And then the front flip works really well. So I think the detent's really good. Now, I might want it slightly stronger just naturally because I'm one of those people who wants a stout detent on everything. But I don't think it should be stronger. And I think it's just a matter of me learning the knife and just see how I failed that. That's not the detent. That's my finger kind of like coming out of the hole and whatnot. So I just have to get used to it. It's definitely easier to flick right-handed because you have all this room here. Where left-handed, you lose room, right? So you got to kind of dig in and then get your finger out in time. Where right-handed, you have a little more room to get in there and fire it. So it's just easier to use right-handed. Now, that's the reverse with the thumb flick. It's kind of hard to get in there and thumb flick right-handed. Left-handed, you have more room. And when you get it, you get it. I mean, it flicks. So, I don't know. It's just a thing I got to get used to every time I pick it up. And I'm sure once I own it, I'll be more used to it. It does feel like, so my normal instinct with a knife is to go to the top of the hole and try to flick it up there because I'll get the stronger detent. But with this knife, it's more comfortable right here, down at the bottom. It fires every time, no problem, right there. Right-handed, it's a different story. You can't really get up there. So yeah, same thing, down here, fire. So, works great. And again, the jimping's done really well on this. It jumps up and all the way around and keeps going. That's perfect. And I'm hoping that thicker swedge is going to be good. The closing action is solid. I mean, it swings down. It's not like guillotine-y, but it's very smooth. Couple of shakes and she's home. No issues with that. The lock bar access is really my biggest contention with the knife. It's something I don't like. I don't love. It's acceptable, if that makes sense. So it's not enough to detract me from wanting this knife because it's so fabulous all around. But it is something that I would change if it were me. And so basically what I'm saying is I wish there was a cut here. I wish there was a cutout and then you had access to this and you could just go in like this. And an example of that would be like this Quiet Carry 9. Nice and cut back here. You got plenty of room to get in there and then boom, you just slide it across. Get your finger out of the way or thumb out of the way and the knife drops. You don't have that here because there's no cutback. So you have to go and kind of come in on it like this and push it out of the way. And it works. It's really not a big deal. Honestly, I thought from pictures and everything, it was going to be a lot worse. And it's not. It's very easy to do. There's not a ton of tension, luckily, because it's not a frame lock, so it works really well. My concern is in production, one of the changes they're making is making this side and this side thicker here so that this is not as sharp, because it is kind of sharp right here, right? And I wonder if when they do that, it's going to actually make it like less comfortable to do this move. It'll be more comfortable to do this move, right? The push and then swing down with your index finger move. That's the one most people do. But if you're a gangster like me and you love getting your nail chopped, it might actually make it harder. But we'll see. I like it the way it is. And I think more comfortable sounds better, obviously. So that's pretty much it overall. Some design cues. There's a hole here and a hole here. These are aesthetic, I believe. You could use this for a lanyard, I guess. I just really like the design overall, and I'm a fan of Blaze. He's the man behind Golden Design, so I am happy to support that, and I think it's a beautiful looking knife. Very functional, really good EDC, very comfortable in the hand. It's going to have good steel. It's being offered at a fantastic price. There's really a lot of good things here, so I think one other change I didn't mention is the lock bar angle is going to be adjusted a little bit because there was a little bit of slippage on one of the prototypes. So they're making sure that that doesn't become any type of an issue. And I think that was it for changes, but there could be more. You could check the website, which is linked in the description. And yeah, there it is. That's the Golden Design Standard, and I'm very happy with this. I'm glad I got to check it out. I really appreciate you sending it my way, Blaze. And I'm going to get this off to the next person, who is Jim Skelton, which means you're going to see his video before this video ever goes up, is basically what that means. So shout out to Jim. Love you, buddy. And let me know what you guys think down below. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.